Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Jason, and today we're going to have a look at my new project. Well, one of my newest projects, as I tend to flip from one to the other. But anyway, let's get into it. So, first is first, Wargames Atlantic have these new Conquistador boxes. So, I've picked up a couple boxes, and I'm going to make sort of a combination army for various things, as I normally do. So if you're familiar with my channel, you'll know that I like to get the most out of my miniatures. So I'm going to use these to make some Conquistadors, but I'm also going to be using them for Warhammer Armies Project Estalians, which is basically a human army based on the Spanish or Portuguese, depending on how you like it. But I also want to give the army a little bit of a Portuguese theme, because the area I am from in South Africa was obviously founded originally, well, at least for the first Europeans that was founded there, was the Portuguese, which was Vasco da Gama. And I used to play, when I was younger, I used to play football against the Vasco da Gama Football Club in South Africa, not Brazil. And of course, my other half, Carla, she's Portuguese, so okay, it's sort of like a nostalgic sort of thing. Anyway, so I picked up a couple of these boxes. I had a look at them. The sprues are really, really cool. They remind me of old style Games Workshop, you know, not 6th edition, sort of more 7th edition kits that came out. Had a lot of options, a lot of interesting combinations, but very simple. So I'm sure you guys have seen the sprues already online and that sort of stuff. I've already taken some of the bits off, but these are the two most complete sprues I have left when I thought about doing this little video. So you got sort of single piece bodies with the arms and heads separate. You got a ton of variant options for the heads, sort of armored heads, and then you've got non-armored heads on this sprue, which is what I call the sort of weapon sprue. So you've got cappy heads and sort of just variants of different types of heads, but of course you've got the normal Conquistador heads as well. This one comes with the half pikes and the great swords and some swords and daggers and things. And then these ones, they come with all the handguns, crossbows, halberds, and a few bits and pieces for the command, so the drummer, musician, that sort of thing. So I was really happy with these, I've got to admit. Some really good combinations. The figures go together really, really nicely. Nice sturdy metal, lots of cool options. And so I started putting them together. The first thing I did was make, and I'll bring these in here because these are the ones I've already started working on, and you can see the force is beginning to grow. So, I knew that was going to happen, pushing my luck. Anyway, so the first thing I did was I made up a unit of these with the pikes. So you got two variants with these marching sort of pike up figures. You've got the armored body and the leathered body. So I'll bring these up close so hopefully you can see them. I went for a mixture of the two. I'm a big sucker for marching figures. You know, I love a good marching figure. So these were the first ones I built, and I was pretty happy with these. I was saying earlier, the half pike, they're effectively a half pike as opposed to a full pike, and I have been contemplating whether or not I want to take this out and replace it with a full pike. That's something I might look into the future, but at the moment I'm pretty happy with these as they are for now. The color scheme, well, I wanted to do something that went pretty quickly, because I got a lot of figures to paint, not just for this project, but for other projects, and I needed something that I can knock through pretty quickly. The rules for the Estalian army in Warhammer allow you to make a tertiary formation, but a very condensed sort of version of it. So you can have a unit of pike with a unit of rodoleros in the front, which are the sword and shield guys, and of course you can have handgunners to the flank. So I made up two units of pike, one marching, one unit of pointing forwards or at the battle stage like this. And the reason being, they're in units of 12 at the moment. Obviously I could use them in Pikeman's Lament and Dragon and Lion Rampants, those type of games. They all fit into those. And then the units of 6 handgunners, I was going to go, the original idea is that obviously I've gone with the Portuguese military flag and the Vasco da Gama flag. And then this is what predominantly chose my color scheme. So this is red and black. The army is red and black. And then I've added some accents of white. For example, you could see the handguns have white on around the collars over there and on the ankles, but not a lot. And then there's a little bit of brown and so on, just to bring it out. The idea, I think, what I'm going to do is, obviously this is red and the Portuguese flag is red and green. I'll do another section of these, but in green as opposed to red, with the green and black and so on like that. But this was all made from just those kits. This is, I wouldn't say kit bashed or anything like that. It's literally the handguns, the pikes, the commands. The only thing that's not from there is obviously the flags, which I just printed off from the internet. But everything else is literally from that. These figures over here, I went for some marching guys. They're literally those bodies over there, but just with the handgun arms attached to them. And there's a couple with the armored bodies like that. So they are fantastic. Really nice sculpts, nicely detailed, have fantastic detail to them, but not over the top, you know, so that you don't spend ages painting little details and things. Just enough to get them all done and moved on to something else. So these guys, obviously the traditional more handguns. These handguns obviously don't have the little stands underneath, so they're probably a little later than what I'm predicting them, but I don't see why I can't use these for Estalians, for Spanish conquistadors, or for Portuguese explorers to the Indian continent, or even as Spanish/Portuguese tertios in the 30 Years' War. Naturally, the pikes probably need a little bit of extension for that, but you know, I'm pretty sure I can work them in to work for any of those operations. So the rule sets I'm thinking of using is Pikeman's Lament, Warhammer Armies Projects, maybe Dragon Rampant, because they're in units of 12 already. And I will extend these, but these box sets, just move that back out of the way, these box sets make 24 figures. So naturally I've got 48 bodies from this set. I've already used 36, so I've got 12 left to do. And I'm not sure, I've kept those 12 separate, and you'll see why in a minute, because I can obviously make another unit of pike, or I can make another 2 units of handgunners, depending on how I want to go, or I can use them, pick up another box set, and then mix and match as well. Warhammer Armies Project does have a unit, combinations for crossbowmen or halberdiers as well, so there's those options. Plenty of options for core troops from this box set alone, obviously all just infantry. So then I started looking at what else can I add to the army. Well, first things first is this fella right here called Marco Colombo. This is an actual Games Workshop Estalian figure. It's the only Estalian figure that I know of at the current sort of 6-year onwards range, and so he's going to lead my expedition force, and he's ready to start painting. And then the rules for the Estalians have Inquisitors. So I found this figure in my box set. He's going to be my Inquisitor, or High Inquisitor. It looks like a Pope. And then I was thinking of using this guy as my Battle Magus. Now you can't have more Battle Mages than Inquisitors. So 1-on-1 is fine. And he has a sort of a robed, I mean, he's got the fleur-de-lis, which is probably not great, on the front there. So, well, see, but that's so far my characters. And then I got the printer I found some. Now, just a minute, War Dogs is one of the units you can have, and obviously they used War Dogs on the expeditions to the foreign colonial lands and so on, but they didn't use these dogs. These was too chunky. I don't even think they existed at that time. But I wanted something meatier, something more intimidating, something a little bulkier. And so I found these online. They were free to print out from Uncanny Miniatures, I think they were. There's 2 sculpts. You got this one with the collar and this one without the collar. They're slightly different, but not by much. In fact, I think that might be the same one. There, that one. Slightly different. So I've got 5 War Dogs printed off, and I need just to add a handler to that. well, I'll paint them up in different blacks and browns just to give them a little bit of variation. But I think they're suitably intimidating dogs. I mean, especially if they're going to go up against things like werewolves and things like that, you've got to have sort of intimidating dogs to go with that. And then I started working on the next thing. One of the things, and I'll put a list below, or a link below to the Warhammer Armies Project Estalian book, so you can have a look at the options there if you wanted to. But obviously, this is a great cannon from the Empire range. This is one of my spares that I had just lying in a box. It's a little beat up, but they don't have options to great cannons because obviously the Imperial Army doesn't share a lot. So what I did was I found a Sega cannon from the 30 Years War online on Thingiverse, and I printed one off. But I think this was a 20mm scale version, so it got printed off, and I didn't think it was quite the right scale. So we upped that by 20% to that. So you can see it's increased in size a bit. I'm still not quite 100% sure. Now the reason why I'm saying that is because this cannon is to represent what they call, I think it's called a Falcon cannon or Falconeer from the Estalian range, which is supposed to be a light portable cannon that you can bring around with you in sort of rough environments like jungles and so on, that they can drag around with them and use it as tertiary support. So I was thinking, you know, is this maybe too small still? Do I need to scale it up a little bit more? I'm not sure. The reason these guys obviously don't work, these guys don't seem too much bigger, but if you bring in some Games Workshop crew members, they are huge compared to this. I mean, I've got a Conquistador head on this guy, and you can see the head doesn't quite in scale with his body. His body looks massive, and then of course that will never fit into there. But that doesn't really matter too much. It's just whether or not this works or not, and I'm still not 100% convinced yet. So maybe you guys can give me your thoughts. So either I've got to scale this up a little bit more, so maybe by another 10-15%, or I've got to scale these guys down by bringing in, you know, they're not massively different, I guess. In fact, they're probably not that different at all. It's just the dimensions. You know, like the Games Workshop hands are bigger, faces are slightly bigger, or heads, should I say. Bodies are slightly taller. I don't know. So maybe I'm overthinking it. But the idea is that I need to build a couple of cannons of these lighter variants. If you guys have any other suggestions, comment below, you know, with what you think would work better. Like if you have another cannon somewhere else that I can go check out. But there's the variants that I'm building on at the moment. So I've got the 3 units or the 4 units painted up. I've got some extra characters to build. I've got the war dogs to go, and I do have this guy as well. This is a Marienburger duelist. Obviously he's missing his left hand at the moment. He's got a pistol in the right hand, and he does have a really decent look to him. So I'm thinking of using him as a Diestro, which is a sort of a duelist character, an assassin-y type character. So there's that. So my options are quite varied at the moment. I'm thinking of picking up another box of the Conquistadors so I can bulk out the basic troops. I've got the war dogs, working on the cannons, I've got some characters, and I've got some other ideas for other things, which I'll do in part 2 of this video in the future as I give you guys an update. But there you go. So that's what I'm working on. What do you guys think? Got any ideas or suggestions? Comment below. I would love to hear them. You know, this is the best part about the community. You only know so much about your stuff, and then you know, someone else will come up with a great idea, and you're like, oh man, why didn't I think of that? So that's what I'm hoping happens here. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you guys later.